I have 4 chicken fillets. I have about 50 grams of porridge oats. I have a little bit less of white, maybe about 25 grams there of white breadcrumbs. And I'm going to add to that, I'm going to make up some breadcrumbs from this wholemeal bread and maybe some Weetabix. So just trying to get extra fibre into the dish. What else have I got? I've got 2 eggs and I've got some flour. And I think that's basically it. So yeah, what I want to do is get myself a nice mix of the crumb with plenty of fibre in it. So I'm going to use the porridge oats, which have great soluble fibre in them, in the porridge oats. It's really, really good for our gut health, and mix them in there with the white breadcrumbs. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to get some Weetabix. So here I have, this is where I store my Weetabix, and you can see there's lots of bits of crumb there at the bottom. So I'm just going to add that in. Again, another really good way. Brown bread is another good, or wholemeal bread is a really good way to add fibre. So there's loads of good healthy fibre in that breadcrumb. So that's what we're going to coat our chicken strips with. To whisk my 2 eggs. I'm going to pop this into the toaster just to show you how to make breadcrumbs. So you can buy breadcrumbs in the shop, but if you have some old dried up bread, you can grate it on a grater, and this is a little bit too fresh, so I'm actually going to toast it. So with your slice of toast, just using a cheese grater, that'll break it up into a nice little crumb. So that's it. If the bread is stale, as in gone really hard, not gone mouldy, if it's gone hard, might be just, you mightn't have to toast it at all, and you can just grate it away there. When you're cutting the raw meat, it's a good idea to use maybe a different colour chopping board for raw meat, so that anybody knows that if they see it out in the worktop that you've been raw meat or raw fish has been on it. I have one here with a little symbol, so everybody knows that's what we use it for. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this into nice thin strips. Now, if you don't have a sharp knife, your butcher would probably cut this up for you. And if you are doing it at home, the first thing to do as soon as you've finished it is to wash your hands and the equipment you've been using. And then I'm going to start coating my chicken. So I'll take a few pieces in here at a time, pop them into the flour. And then tap off the excess flour. Then once in the egg, I like to use 2 forks and just make sure that they're coated in egg. Let the egg run off and then coat them in your breadcrumbs. And onto a plate. So that's it. They are ready to cook. Let's tidy up here. So just remember, if you have to add any extra flour or egg or breadcrumbs, to wash your hands, because you've been handling the chicken. So wash your hands before you go and get and refill up. And also, because the raw chicken has been in all of these dishes, we can't use this flour for anything now, or the breadcrumbs. They're just going to have to go into the food bin at this stage. Okay, so I'm going to pop these into the oven now. I'm going to put them onto a baking tray. I'm just going to put a tiny drizzle of oil and just using a pastry brush, just coat the bottom of the tray with the oil. So that's then ready to go into the oven. So there's 4 chicken fillets here, and the recipe says 4 chicken fillets, 1 chicken fillet per person. Now, in my house, there's 2 adults and 3 kids. This will actually do us for either 2 rounds of dinner or a dinner and lunches tomorrow. So with the chicken fingers could be cut up and put into a wrap, or added to a salad or something like that for lunch tomorrow. And I think that's the reason we probably get so much out of it is because we cut them smaller. We're getting more portions out of it, and you feel when you've eaten 2 or 3 of these, which is only really just over maybe half a chicken fillet, I feel like I've had enough. So yeah, that's it. I'm just going to pop them into the oven, and they need about 15 to 20 minutes. And what I'm going to do though is check them halfway through and just turn them, just to make sure, or maybe turn the tray just to make sure that they're not getting really cooked in one corner and looking a bit raw in the other corner. The chicken fingers are in the oven and they won't be too much longer, and I have decided I've had enough chopping for today. So for my vegetables, what I'm going to do is use some frozen veg. This is a really handy option, and just because they're frozen, actually it often means because they're frozen they have more nutrients in them because they freeze them more or less straight from picking. So all I need to do is put on a saucepan of water, and once that's boiling I'll pop as much of this mixed veg as I need into the saucepan, and about 3 or 4 minutes and they should be done, and that's my veg. Nice and easy. So I have water here boiling away. I'm just going to turn it down so I don't burn myself, and pop in the vegetables. About a half a bag would suit us for this evening. Pop that back into the freezer, and in about 4 minutes time they'll be ready to go. Easy peasy. They had 20 minutes in the oven and they look and smell delicious, so I'm just going to plate them up.